My underwear had fallen to my knees when I realized I couldn't stop him. I wasn't drunk, not high, not even scared. I stood there, my heart pounding, my lips parted, my skin burning, while Calvin, my best friend's father, knelt behind me and whispered, "Let me take care of you." He was twice my age. I had known him, married and widowed for a long time. Since we were little, he'd grilled us hamburgers at sleepovers and bought us pizza when we cried about school drama. But that night, in his office, the door closed and the room filled with his cologne. He touched me as if I weren't his daughter's best friend. He touched me as if I were his girlfriend. The moment his tongue touched my thigh, I knew I'd crossed a line I'd never cross. But I never imagined that this revelation would change my life and tear at my soul. Before I delve into this complicated story, I'd like to thank everyone who has subscribed to this channel. Your support means more than you can imagine, and so does all our new and old viewers who haven't hit the subscribe button yet. What are you waiting for? This simple click is the energy that fuels this space and keeps the stories flowing. Your likes, shares, and feedback mean so much, so share your thoughts in the comments section below. Let's build this community together. Let's go back to how I ended up half naked at the house of the man I never imagined would cheat on my boyfriend. My name is Kimberly. I was 23 when it happened. I had just dropped out of nursing school because I couldn't afford the tuition and the constant pressure to seem like I had it all under control. I was working double shifts at a rundown diner on Interstate 280 in Birmingham, Alabama. On nights when I wasn't clearing tables, I would go to my best friend Terry's house. Terry was everything I feared. His father, Calvin, was wealthy and owned 3 car dealerships and a lakeside cabin we used to go to in high school. Calvin was the armor-wearing type, a smooth talker with silver hair and dark eyes that seemed steely. Thanks to you, he was quiet, but always tender. After Terry's mother died of cancer, Calvin changed. He became softer, almost broken, but never weak. There was something about him that drew you to him, even when he didn't say a word. I remember the first time. He offered me help. I was sitting on the porch crying over a notice from my landlord. Terry was inside, his headphones on full blast. Calvin came out with a beer. He saw my face and sat down next to me. "You're drowning, Kimberly," he said. "I'll throw you a line." He paid my rent that month, and the next month he gave me a used car from one of his lots, then helped me get a better job at his office. That was the beginning of the favor, but favors from men like Calvin are never without kindness. One night, after work, I was in his office going over some paperwork when my pen fell. I bent down to pick it up. When I got up, he was behind me. His breath was on the back of my neck. "You look beautiful, Kimberly," he said. I froze. It was the first time he'd said anything like that. I looked over my shoulder, and his hand was on my waist. I had to say something. I had to move. I leaned back and let go. I let him undress, me. I let him touch me in places I hadn't allowed anyone else in years. And it felt so good. So good that night, as he kissed and tugged at my inner thighs. The shame in my body eased. I knew something had changed between us, but I also knew something was coming. Something dark, dangerous, something that would make me doubt my control. I wish I could tell you that was the only time it ever happened. A quiet, vulnerable night ended in shame, and I left untouched. But the truth is, I returned to his arms again and again. The next morning, Calvin texted me, "Come to the lake. House, just the 2 of us. No questions, no excuses, just an order." And I followed him like a woman, spellbound. The keys were waiting for me by the side entrance, a bedroom with clean white sheets, a bathrobe that was too tight, and when he touched me again, this time in broad daylight, it was more serious. What had started as a stolen night had turned into weekend outings. He sent me money, paid off my student loans, bought me new clothes, shoes, and perfume. He gave me a life I couldn't afford, and I gave him everything. Terry had no idea about my body. She thought her dad was just trying to get me back on my feet. She even joked that I was like a second daughter to him. If only she'd known her dad had memorized the taste of my skin. At first, the secrecy made it exciting. The risk, the lies, the guilt. I wore it all, like perfume. Calvin told me I was special, that I'd given him his life back after he lost his wife, that I'd made him feel like a man, not just a grieving father. I believed him. I wanted to believe him, but little by little, he began to change. He became possessive, controlling. He wanted to know who I was. He texted me where to go. He didn't like me being around Terry anymore. Stay away from her. He told me one night, stroking my hair in bed, that she asked too many questions. I laughed. I thought he was just going crazy, but then Terry asked me why I had stopped coming over to her house for girls' nights. She said, "You've been acting weird. Kim, like you're hiding something. Have you been seeing someone?" I lied. I told her I was just focused on school and work, that I was tired, that I had no time for guys. She laughed and hugged me. "You better not. Be sleeping with my dad or something." She joked. My heart almost stopped. She had no idea, but the guilt rushed up my throat like vomit that night. I told Calvin we needed to slow things down. He stared at me, coldly after everything I have done for you, after all I gave you. His voice was low, like it carried a threat wrapped in silk. He reached into his pocket, took out a diamond bracelet and placed it on my wrist. "You do not walk away from me, Kimberly." And I did not. I stayed even when my soul screamed for me to run. Then came the night. Everything almost fell apart. Terry invited me over for dinner. Just the three of us. I had not seen her in weeks. Calvin told me not to go, but I knew if I kept avoiding her, she would get suspicious. I walked in, nervous, lips trembling. And there he was, Calvin sitting at the head of the table acting like I was just another guest, but under the table his foot slid up my leg, hestered at me while pouring wine into Terry's glass, rubbing his toes against the inside of my thigh. I nearly dropped my fork. Terry was talking about some guys she met at work, giggling, not noticing how I was shaking. Then she said, Dad, you remember that night Kimberly came over to help you with paperwork? She told me you two worked really late. What were you working on again?" My mouth went dry. Calvin smiled calmly and said, "Just bills and tax papers." Then he looked at me, his eyes dark, his jaw tight as if daring me to speak. I nodded and forced a smile. But I could feel my lies cracking. One more question, one slip of the tongue on wrong look, and everything would explode. It all came crashing down. 2 weeks later, I had just finished showering at Calvin's place. My skin still smelled like him. The bracelet he gave me sparkled on my wrist as I dried my hair. In his bathroom mirror should have felt powerful, desired, wanted. But all I felt was hollow. Calvin was in the next room, half-dressed, scrolling through emails. Like we were a normal couple. Like this was just another morning in a world that would never exist outside that house. I was about to tell him I could not keep doing this, but my phone buzzed. It was a text from Terry. "We need to talk now." I stared at the screen. My hands trembled before I could respond. "She called Kimberly," she said, her voice shaky. I went through my dad's phone. I saw the messages, the hotel receipts, the pictures. "You were in his bed, Kim, you were in my father's bed." Silence. My mouth opened, but nothing came out. There was no excuse. No clever spin. Just truth, ugly, raw, exposed truth. "I trusted you." She whispered, "You were my best friend, my sister. And you were screwing my dad." Behind my back. Then she hung up. That was the last time Terry spoke to him. She blocked my number. She posted a cryptic tweet that lit up our mutual friend circle like wildfire. Everyone Started talking, whispers turned into screenshots. Secrets turned into judgment. I lost friends. I lost jobs. I lost the only person who ever felt like home. And Calvin, he changed too. Once. Terry found out he distanced himself like a politician dodging a scandal. He said we needed space, that he had to protect his image, that I should lay low, and then the money stopped. The gifts disappeared. No more invitations. No more lake house. No more soft promises in the dark. Just silence. He used me and I let him not. Because I was weak, but because I was. Hungry for comfort. For validation. For love, I never got in the right places. I confused attention for care. I mistook lust for affection. And by the time I saw the difference, it was too late. I hit rock bottom a month later, back at the diner, back to scraping tips. No degree, no best friend, no man, just shame. But something changed in me, that shame. It turned it into fuel. I went back to school, paid every dime myself. I found therapy. I found healing. I started telling my story, not as a victim, but as a woman who had learned the hardest way that some favors cost far more than they. See, I never blamed Calvin. Not fully, he was who he was. But I blamed myself for staying when I should have walked, for choosing silence when I should have spoken, for betraying a sisterhood, for the touch of a man who never saw me as anything more than an escape from his own grief. So here is what I learned. If someone offers to save you, in secret make sure it is not your soul. They are stealing. If someone gives you everything, but demands your silence, ask yourself what you are really trading. And never betray the one person who would have fought for you through anything, because the price of lust is nothing compared to the cost of losing yourself. Thank you for watching. Now, it is your turn. Tell me what you think. Drop a comment, share your thoughts. Do you think I was wrong from the start? Do you think Calvin knew exactly what he was doing? Let us talk in the comments. Do not forget to like, share, and hit that subscribe button if you have not already. Your support keeps this channel alive, and these stories flowing. Until next time, stay